Revelation 2140. From the 4th of November 1941. Petition of the good forces. Petition the bad forces. The spiritual bond secures the human being's ascent to the heights. This is so understandable because the inhabitants of the kingdom of light constantly support the spiritual, which is not yet perfected. The lightly seeks to influence people, and the influence will always be effective when people turn towards their givers, when they therefore seek to unite with the spiritual beings. Only a conscious turning away makes the effort of those beings ineffective. Spiritual influence is of utmost importance for earthly people. He can indeed also be influenced by bad beings, but only if the human being surrenders himself to the bad forces without resistance, and this is the case when he does not consciously desire good spiritual strength. In order to make contact with good strength, the human being must let his will become active. He must desire its influence, its protection and its help. Bad forces, however, need not be desired. They are already ready for their bad work as soon as the human being is indifferent and does not defend himself against their influence. They are there at all times and oppress the human being who does not resist them through the desire for good. The connections of the bad forces with people are initiated by them, whereas the connection with the good forces must be striven for by the human being, that is consciously established. The good forces are constantly ready, and this readiness earns the human being the greatest spiritual success, while the bad forces need the human being's readiness in order to be able to work, for the bad forces are spiritually lower than the human being and can only then unfold their power if the human being is willing. Resistance from the human being renders them powerless and impotent. However, their strength and power only consist in confusing the human being's train of thought. The bad beings cannot express themselves or influence the human being in any other way, whereas the good spiritual powers can help the human being in every way, even apart from influencing him mentally. For they also have the power to guide the human being in earthly life and also to shape events in a way which is favorable for the human being, thus to intervene in earthly life in a way which is helpful for the human being's soul's higher development. They act in accordance with God's will, consequently they will always influence the human being as God informs them and as is necessary for them to reach their maturity of soul. But only then may they look after the earthly child, that is, give it their help, when it unites with these good beings of its own accord, when it acknowledges their strength and voluntarily turns to them and appeals for their effectiveness. Then the influence of these beings on the human being is tremendously successful. They take care of the human being with utmost love and perseverance and always and constantly help him to travel the path of ascent unhindered. For they devote all their love to the still imperfect, upwardly striving spiritual beings. Amen.